Saintess summons skeletons. By Morn. Chapter 661, The Abyss Takes Thee. After a minute of evading the god's tentacles, the effect of the storm pendant started to falter, allowing the storm clouds to close in a bit before Sofia summoned another flask of blood to reactivate it. The tentacle attacks kept coming. Now confident she could evade them with relative ease, Sofia started charging a piercing angel bolt, and whacked the tentacles with it whenever she found an opportunity. The lance of hot plasma only ever grazed the tentacles, carving shallow burned gashes in the amalgam of rotten fishes and sea creatures. Still, it was enough. Sofia's blood slowly charged up with lightning with every strike. After less than a minute of this chaotic aerial dance, the tentacles sunk back down again, and even the lightning strikes in the surrounding storm seemed to slowly weaken. Already done? The ocean boiled, and from its depths rose a gargantuan hand. It was made of the same grotesque amalgam as the tentacles, dead sea life mashed into a massive hand. Almost as large as the storm's clearing, and coming straight for her. Sofia was not fast enough to evade it. When she realized what was happening, the hand's rotting fingers were already closing around her. Not about to let herself get crushed to death, Sofia fell down onto the hand's palm. She placed her own hand on top of the pile of rotting fish, and opened a wide hole in the god's hand. She had used bone dominus to carve herself a path, using the bones of all the corpses making up the god's body. They were not truly the god's bone, as such, they were inert bones that bone dominus could influence even from a distance. The giant hand's fist closed, trapping Sofia in the hole she had carved. She barely avoided getting crushed to death, feeling the fingers' cold, rotting corpses press against her back. She dug further, the rotting corpses pushing themselves out of the way under her control of their bones, putrid fish juices flowing from their entrails as they were crushed to the sides. Sofia felt herself falling, the god's hand was sinking back into the sea. Not good. She dug as fast as she could, even using the piercing bolt to speed up the process, until, as cold water was rushing in from behind, she got through the thick layer of rotting corpses and found what looked like some tough dark hide. Sofia tried to pierce through with her bolt, but it clearly did not have nearly enough mana to be able to pierce that yet, so she grabbed the admin dagger from her bone belt instead, and carved a small hole through the hide as fast as she could. It was extremely thick, but the dagger carved through it effortlessly, exposing some kind of dark flesh underneath. Pestle. The tiny fairy left the storage. She did not need any instructions. As Sofia turned back, Pestle sliced through the god's flesh. Now was the harder part. The hand was still closed, and it was still sinking, going deeper and deeper under the surface by the second. Using bone dominus, Sofia damaged the finger keeping her prisoner of the closed hand, and as soon as she saw an opportunity, used summon self through a narrow gap to teleport outside of the hand's grasp. On the outside, she could see the tentacles all around her, like huge pillars of dead fish, and the abnormally long arm with its grotesque hand that rapidly sunk to the bottom of the sea, disappearing into the dark abyss below. Not wasting any time, she flew up through the water. It was a matter of seconds before the god noticed that she had escaped. The hand came back up. Parith, chains. Parith appeared near Sofia as she swam up. The chains of the 4 seals appeared, each firmly wrapping around a different finger of the incoming hand, and linking them up to the nearby tentacles. The hand was stopped in its course, if only for an instant. That was all the time Sofia needed to get back to the surface. The chains broke while Parith teleported back to Sofia, then into the storage ring. The hand followed right after, trying to grab its prey once again. Sofia threw her scepter along with its piercing bolt to the side. The scepter flew with the bolt toward one of the tentacles, a normally pretty useless trick Sofia had figured out a while ago. It did nothing to make the bolt more powerful and left her without a weapon, but the added mass gave the bolt immense recoil, propelling her back so hard and fast she was well out of reach of the god's hand when it closed. Sofia flew up, and with a single glance at her staff stuck inside of the tentacle it had hit, she stored it in her eye, then summoned it back to her hand. Again realizing it had missed, the god attacked once more. The extended tentacles slammed down. My turn. Bookie cried out as he summoned himself on top of Sofia's shoulders. His 2 frail skeletal hands turned toward the sky. He let the tentacles hit him. Even with the tentacles blotting out half the sky, more than enough sunlight reached Bookie. His hero blessing was active, making him completely immune to damage. The tentacles hit Sofia from above, one after the other. Bookie blocked them all like an unbreakable shield. Despite that, Sofia and Bookie lost altitude every time a tentacle slammed down on them, and the hand made another grabbing motion in their direction. In a fraction of a second, Sofia rearranged her essence cores in the simplest divine rune she knew, and for the first time in a real battle, she used her racial skill to usurp the power of a real god. Fuck off! She wished, as her divinity stat tanked down from 100 to almost 0. And the nearby tentacles along with the rotten hand of the abyssal god were blown away, like hit by an invisible giant hammer. That was the power of rejection. She started flying up again, channeling a piercing bolt in each hand as she went, and activating the skull choir at maximum capacity. 68 Sir Hellion skulls appeared in a large ring around Sofia, and before long, they started spewing lightning at the hand and the tentacles down below. Their damage was poor, but the constant barrage of lighting helped charge up Sofia's avatar form as she tried to think of her next steps. The hand and tentacles would strike again in no time, and she was short on options. The Saintesmancer's star couldn't even be used, as there was a chance the god was an undead, which would mean the star would only heal it. Return inside, Bookie! She ordered, as one of the tentacles tensed up to strike from below. Altitude still too low. Impossible to dodge. But the angle is fine. Sofia summoned the right chest under her right as the tentacle struck. It slammed into the chest, which slammed into Sofia, the lid slamming shut above her from the impact. Instead of getting impaled on a tower of dead fish, with a bunch of broken bones and shattered wings, Sofia was sent flying high into the sky. She wanted to fix her bones as fast as possible, but she had too little time, so she focused on her wings only. When she felt the time was right, she stored the chest back into her eye. She had been hit so hard and sent flying so fast that she was at the point where the sky turned black from the lack of atmosphere. Looking down at the tentacles that shot out of the water to pursue her even as she pierced the heavens, she activated the third tier of Runeforged Overlord and accelerated up even more. She had learned about the concept of escape velocity from the random talks during her date with Speed, and knew she couldn't quite get there by herself yet, even with all of her speed boosts. But with the help of a direct hit from a god? Sofia leveraged every bit of momentum she had and escaped into space. The god's strange storm did not extend that high, and Sofia watched as she flew, how the gigantic storm seemed to cover the entire planet, leave for the small hole her pendant had carved through. The god's tentacles extended up and up stretching towards Sofia, but it seemed they were too short in the end, and could not reach her as she continued to fly away from the planet. The god retracted his disgusting appendages as the storm plugged up the tiny hole Sofia had left. What now? Do I win? Sofia wondered, continuously feeding more mana to the angel bolts she still held in each hand, doubting that it could be so easy to escape this trial's design. The storm cloud underneath started to swirl into a vortex, and slowly, a huge dark green and purple mass emerged from the center of the storm, undescribably large, the god's bloated head. Chapter 662, Your Own Medicine. Sofia threw the low-charge piercing bolt in her left hand at the emerging deity. It missed, the bolt disappearing into the storm. Too far. I've never trained for that kind of aiming. Is the trajectory also getting changed by gravity? Hard to tell. But the avatar form is almost there, I just need to hit one big time and I'm good. Doubt it will harm this thing much, though, Sofia thought as she looked down at the planet she was still flying farther and farther away from. The god's figure was truly incomprehensibly massive, from how gigantic he seemed as his bloated upper body emerged from the storm. It was no exaggeration to say his shoulders were half as wide as the planet itself. His size simply defied all logic and common sense. Wait. No matter how far Sofia flew from the planet, the god seemed to still be just as gigantic in her eyes. It was growing bigger. The bloated fish-like head of the deity looked up at Sofia with dead eyes. One of its massive hands also emerged from the storm, without his shoulder moving, as if the limbs had no relation to each other. The hand made a slow grabbing motion at the storm clouds, gathering a bundle of white energy in its palm. Leaving the planet might not have been such a good idea. The hand hurled the blinding mass at Sofia. The condensed lightning left the planet like a beam of light. Sofia could think faster than she could act. Heat death isn't reacting. Can't evade, can't transform, not full health, Bookie can't block, Parith might die. And I barely have any mana left. Sofia was engulfed by the hot light and died instantly as the violent energies ripped her to shreds and shattered her mana heart. 3 unlife runes left, she thought as she resurrected 3 seconds later, grabbing her crown and cape that were drifting off. That death was not so bad. It helped cancel Runeforged Overlord, saving Sofia some mana, and she had conserved most of her momentum, so she was still steadily putting distance between herself and the enemy. Down below, the god prepared to unleash the same attack again, though it seemed to require a little more preparation this time, likely to let the energy of the storm build up again, Sofia thought. She wasted no time to prepare her own next move. Grabbing the book latched to her side, Sofia ripped off 2 pages without even looking. 200,000 mana of her remaining 500 left her body to fuel Bookie's mist, as 200 Kijikik skeletons appeared. They were the Guardian Kijikiks, each armed with a tall rectangular shield and a spear. The good news was that the Kijikiks appeared in space with the same momentum as Bookie, meaning they were not left behind, but the not so good news was that they couldn't move freely in space, and were already starting to spread out from colliding with each other. Shit, didn't think that far ahead. Sofia threw her other bolt down in the direction of the god, only aiming loosely. She could not waste any more mana for the moment. I need to be fast. She activated the 3rd tier of Runeforged Overlord to give the Kijikiks free flight, and gave them simple orders. Form rows of 20, stick your shields together, 2 columns of 5 rows. Even such a simple sequence of instruction was asking a lot from the simple-skulled Kijikik skeletons, but Sofia micro-managed them by flying around and giving each problematic one personalized orders while she also unloaded a bunch of bones between them as fast as she could. With Bone Dominus, she glued the Kijikiks together, solidifying the formation into 2 solid shield walls held by the Kijikiks. As the god below raised his hand again, she hurried to place her 2 shield walls at an angle, making it a wedge pointed at the planet. The next attack came. Sofia hid behind her wall of unbreakable shields. The god's lightning ball hit the shields, and most of its strength was deflected to the side. The heat was intense, and a filament of energy spilling from a side and curving around the shield still slapped Sofia for a third of her health, ripping her left arm off, but she survived. As they were immortal under sunlight, not a single Kijikik died, though the bones Sofia had used to lock them together had been burned to ashes. Perfect. Sofia rearranged the skeleton's shields into a more complex pyramidal shape. This covered a smaller area but should prevent the issue of the attack curving around the shield. That done, Sofia was out of mana, so Runeforged Overlord wore off by itself. She then threw a bone token outside of the shield-protected area to have a look at the planet. The god seemed larger than ever. He was out of the clouds all the way up to his waist, which now seemed just as large as the planet itself. Both of his arms were extending straight down into the storm while the hands were much further away, as if the arms themselves were long snakes attached to the god's shoulders. 2 at once this time? It was only now that the bolt Sofia had thrown earlier landed. Its aim was so off that it had curved and looped all the way around the planet before hitting the god directly in the chest, which was now very hard to miss. Whether that attack amounted to anything was hard to say, but it was enough to get Sofia to the point where she could activate the avatar of Zeus if she wanted. For now I don't need to. It would have been useful before, but now that she had her Kijikik shield, it was better to keep the avatar for a free mana refill later. Sofia hid behind the Kijikiks as 2 more deadly attacks crashed on her shields. She was starting to feel a bit powerless. Certainly she had managed to reach a bit of a stalemate for now, but so far during this battle, that kind of situation had never progressed favorably for her. I don't see how I could kill it. All I can do now is wait and hope Pestle manages to hurt it from the inside somehow. She counted the seconds, waiting for the next attack as her mana refilled. But surprisingly, no attack seemed to come. Sofia threw another bone token out into space. She would only get to look through it for a few seconds before it drifted too far, but that should have been enough. Yet when she connected to it, looked through, and was disconnected shortly after, that left her with more questions than answers. She did not see the planet nor the god. I'm sure I threw it in the correct orientation, so what? She wasted another token, just to be absolutely sure. Again, nothing, just the emptiness of space behind her. She looked at the sun, still a narrow glowing patch in the void of space. It seemed as distant as ever, and was still in the same place. I wasn't teleported or anything. The planet just disappeared? Sofia was suddenly engulfed by dark clouds. Before she could process the situation, she was sinking deep into a black abyss of cold and salty water, her extreme speed previously pushing her away from the planet not pushing her toward the seafloor. This could only really mean one thing. The planet teleported. One instant Sofia felt the Kijikiks above her, the next she didn't. Deep underwater, there was no sunlight to protect them, they had died, and Sofia did not even know how. Nevertheless, she decided to go with the flow, and let herself be taken to the abyssal depths, constantly scanning the empty ocean around her with her mana senses. Aside from the Kijikiks' disappearance, there were no signs of the god being there so far. A matter of time. But the storm pendant got obliterated by the lightning attack that killed me, so going back to the surface without using the avatar is suicide. And no point in trying to escape anymore, clearly that's not working, so there's a single solution left. A tentacle struck from behind, like a harpoon it came abruptly from behind, its tip an amalgam of fish bones and teeth, ready to impale her. Sofia managed to deflect the thrust with an elbow strike, her dragon scale armguard surviving without a scratch, unlike her arm inside of it that was torn to mush by the violence of the impact. After striking, the tentacle started to retract. Deftly controlling her movements with her wings, Sofia grabbed the tentacle with her legs. In the dark depths, she hitched a ride toward the body of the god. I'll kill it. Chapter 663 Pawns. Zafir looked at the screen, then at his notepad, taking notes on everything Sofia was doing. What do you think? Saria probed. She has a chance, right? She's already survived almost as long as you did, Zafir answered, but still, first place is a real stretch, especially knowing what's to come. I'm just glad I chose the other event, Cynthia commented from behind. The chat seems pretty split on whether she can get first place or not. They're taking bets. Saria turned around, again. Again, Cynthia confirmed. The ones still betting against her aren't so smart, hey. Death bet against her taking first place this time, Cynthia pointed out, that convinced a lot of them to take the same side. Just because it's the historical ranking doesn't mean it's unbeatable, Saria said with a shrug. I think she's got it. Probably. She still has 3 res peons. As the god's appendage retracted, Sofia focused on fixing the bones of her right arm as much as possible. Her mana was still low, and nothing she had done yet had seemed to arm the rotten abyssal deity, so it was time for a new strategy. The opportunity for that came by itself, as the tentacle whipped Sofia off of itself, throwing her toward what seemed to be a wall of pointy deep-sea corals. The coral reef opened up as she neared it, like a giant monster's maw. That must be part of the god. Sofia thought. It's too big not to be. The coral reef opened more and more, jagged coral structures like 1,000 rows of sharp teeth ready to crush their prey, as the water currents were engulfed by that opening, sucking Sofia in. She did not fight it. The coral maw snapped shut as Sofia was between them. Summon self. Teleporting safely deeper inside of the creature's now closed mouth, Sofia took the initiative to dive down its strange throat. You're going to learn, I am notoriously hard to swallow. The creature's throat was so large, Sofia could easily fly down it, quickly making her way to a gigantic, cavernous stomach. Countless dead marine creatures lay at the bottom, some small, some larger than a house, floating in a bubbly purple goo that did not mix at all with the sea water. I can feel Pessel's location again from here. She's quite far down. Let's try to join. Never mind. The stomach's walls grew 3 large wart-like structures in an instant, and Sofia could already tell from the mana within that this was going to be a tough fight coming her way. Perith appeared next to Sofia, his weight quickly making him sink down. Do I just use the avatar now? Sofia wondered, looking at her mana slowly crawling back up to almost 1 million. No, I should trust Perith here. Precast a star or not? It's a bet on whether they are undead or not. Let's try, worst case I just lose some mana. Big monsters emerged from the stomach warts. The one furthest from Sofia, and with the most mana, was like a small translucent glowing jellyfish with tentacles all over. The second one closer to Sofia, was a flat orange worm with thousands of blue legs, each one the size of one of her arms. Lastly, from the third wart at the bottom of the stomach near the purple goo, emerged a strange tower-shaped crab with 4 long pincer claws, facing off against Perith. Sofia smiled under her helmet. Not undead. She only needed 2 more seconds to finish casting her spell. The monsters were not going to just give her that extra time. The crab tower's long pincers thrusted at Perith like deadly swords while the flatworm rushed toward Sofia, its long body undulating in the currents. Perith's halo and sanctified grounds flared up, illuminating the cavernous stomach of the god. He held a shield in his left hand and a javelin in the right. Teleporting to Sofia, he narrowly avoiding the crab's attack, bashing his shield against the incoming maws of the worm, and in the same move, throwing his spear at the jellyfish monster further up. His shield broke from the hit, but it and the javelin reformed in his hands before the ribbon worm could even recover from the blow. The jellyfish was pierced by the javelin, but it gave no sign of caring, and Sofia could tell it was still channeling its spell. Down below, the crab monster wasted no time to aim at Perith's new position with his pincers, ejecting them one by one like giant arrows. "I'll deal with this," Sofia told Perith, letting him focus on dealing with the worm which started attacking again, trying to swim around him to get to Sofia. Two of the pincers were aimed directly at Perith's core from below while the other two were aimed more to the side, likely to hit his legs or ribs. The astrite chest appeared under Perith just as the pincers arrived, blocking the two aimed at his core. The pincers hit the bottom of the chest, pushing it up between Perith's legs with enough force that it shattered his armor of light, but he was unharmed from this hit. The other two pincers failed to hit enough bones at once for it to go over the 10% threshold under which Perith negated all damage. Using the upwards push to his advantage, Perith stabbed the worm from under, his javelin of light coming out from the other side of the worm's hard shell. Finally, at the same time, both Sofia and the jellyfish's casts were over. On her side, Sofia summoned a Saintesmancer's star, while the jellyfish summoned hundreds of red crystals everywhere in the stomach, the mana inside of which was extremely unstable. Perith back. Thankfully, Perith was close enough to return to Sofia's storage ring as the crystals exploded. Sofia boasted some incredible explosion resistance, hence why she chose to take the hit by herself. Venerable physique of the primeval void provided 50% explosion damage resistance, and her mana heart's explosion resistance itself gave another 50%, stacking up to 75% total. Sofia was pretty certain that Angel's Bolt gave her some additional explosion resistance, and after all of that, Heat Death cut all damage in half again. Since the Trial's twin rule set Malice doubled all damage taken, it essentially nullified Heat Death's reduction, which meant Sofia would still take around 25% of the explosion's damage. The crystals all exploded at once. Sofia suffered from the explosion of the nearest crystal, blowing away most of what remained of her body, but leaving her bones almost intact. Her mana heart was safe inside of the armguard, where there was plenty of space as her right arm had been destroyed earlier. All the other explosions were completely negated by Singularity Edict. About 15% health left, I won't be able to move. Wait wah. As Sofia analyzed 1,000 things in the heat of the battle, watching as the 100,000 mana Saintesmancer's star she had just summoned was starting to collapse, she saw her life total jump up out of nowhere. The worm seemed unbothered by the red crystal explosions, and it started to attack again, but the star exploded, pushing it back with a violent pulse of holy light. Only then, allowed a moment to think, did Sofia understand what was really happening to her. Sanctified Grounds' physical stats bonus, including health, was quadrupled for skeletons. Perith appeared again now that the explosions were over, a sword in each hand. He swung at the water, launching rays of arc light at the jellyfish, hitting it at the same time as the pulse of holy light from the star crashed into it. The jellyfish writhed, clearly hurt from the attacks, but Sofia couldn't see it. Relying entirely on her mana senses now, she instead kept track of the crab tower's movements. Its pincers had already regrown, and it was rushing up the side of the stomach, completely unbothered by the pulse of light, and jumped off in Sofia's direction while Perith brawled with the worm, preventing it from advancing directly toward Sofia with well-placed javelin thrusts. Since all three of the monsters had been hit, however shortly, by the light of the star, they were all cursed to some extent, and focused their assault on the brightest source of light, Sofia. Sofia could not move to avoid the crab's attack due to Pillar of Creation, but since she had around 15% of her mana left, the annoying racial skill preventing her from moving also multiplied her spell casting range by that many times. Though annoying, the racial skill allowed for some interesting interactions. Using Exalted Exoskeleton, Sofia instantly summoned a bone armor 15 times as thick as usual, enveloping her like true coffin of bone. Pillar of Creation also having damage from all sources. When the crab's extended pincers stabbed Sofia, they failed to even pierce through the entire thickness of the armor. Perith took advantage of the fact that the crab had come so close. His claws were extended, meaning it couldn't defend himself when Perith teleported himself directly on it, the possible landing points of his teleportation expanding 15 times farther from Sofia than usual. Sofia switched to Perith's vision and used that in her own senses to give him directions. Strike under the third carapace layer from the top. Perith's javelin crashed down on the weak spot between the layers of the crab's carapace. It pierced through the hard layer, then a soft one, then hit another hard thing, the creature's mana heart, destroying it in one blow. You have defeated Elite Monster Rook of the Abyssal God, level 305 seconds have been added to your survival timer. Chapter 664 Checkmate. Heat Death allowed Sofia to absorb a good chunk of mana from the dead crab, and she put it to good use. Since the cooldown for each consecutive cast of Saintesmancer's star was reduced by half, the second cast came to fruition right then, and it would only be a second and then some before the next. Sofia dumped all of her mana in minimum cost stars, spawning 5 more of them in an arc over her head while Perith handled the worm. As for the spells from the jellyfish, the monster made the mistake of casting a series of cheap direct damaging spells that Sofia Heat Death cancelled without a second thought. From there was no need to even convert the stars to spread rot. The monsters were too affected by the aberrant sunlight curse. Perith finished the worm off as it tried to jump into the light, and the jellyfish died from the pulses of holy damage when Sofia detonated all of the stars at once. You have defeated Elite Monster Knight of the Abyssal God, level 305 seconds have been added to your survival timer. You have defeated Elite Monster Bishop of the Abyssal God, level 305 seconds have been added to your survival timer. Not very generous, but 15 seconds is 15 seconds, I'll take it. And now? I can't heal and I can't move unless I heal. Perith, the dagger fell on the pile of rotting fish down there during the explosion, can you get it for me please? Perith fetched the admin key for Sofia and she grabbed it with Bone Dominus using the bones of her armor. Then, she gently smashed it into herself to split her mana heart in two. Her mind blanked out for 3 seconds, and she was back, fully healed and ready to go. Still 2 unlife runes up. Let's get moving, we should go find Pestle, she thought for Perith starting to swim down to the bottom of the strange stomach. Rather than to follow the digestive tract, Sofia sliced her way through the lining of the stomach, and invaded the interior of the deity's body. Navigating between giant fleshy mounds and pulsating veins full of black liquid was relatively easy, but it was swarming with fish-like monsters. These pawns of the Abyssal God were just level 299 monsters and gave nothing when killed, they were just annoying, and came endlessly from the wart-like growths. Perith could kill each of them in a few hits, never taking any damage from their physical attacks, while their cheap spells were all erased by heat death. Progress was fast and frantic down the god's body, as each passing second was an opportunity for more pawns to crawl out of the walls, until a ball of invisible fury came to change the balance of things. Pestle rejoined the group, blasting through chest of the fish monsters, coming out with their mana hearts in her hands on the other side. Pestle find heart. The fairy eagerly communicated, speaking directly in Sofia's head. But too hard. Not kill. The god's heart? Does it really have something like that? Lead us there. More and more pawns rushed through the walls to stop the group's advances, but with Pestle there, they were even more efficient at getting rid of them, and following the path Pestle had already cleared once was significantly faster than going blindly. The group arrived to the heart in under a minute, an army of pawns running after them. The god's heart was some sort of greenish rock right about Sofia's size with a lot of sharp edges and mind-bending geometry, covered in a healthy amount of purple eyes that stared back at any onlooker. It was sitting there, seemingly without any protection, ridiculous amounts of mana oozing from within. Perith, hold back the pawns. Sofia ordered as she and Pestle swam toward the heart. Look, heart ha Pestle started, interrupting her invisibility to point at the heart, but she stopped mid-sentence, turning around and looking at one of the walls. Sofia looked as well. She couldn't see anything wrong with it, but she trusted Pestle's instincts. Danger! Pestle warned. A horn-like spike emerged from the wall at the same time, extending dozens of meters in the blink of an eye to pierce the water toward Sofia's mana heart. Even on her guards, Sofia was not fast enough to react. Pestle! The fairy's tiny skeleton had shattered, she decisively blocked the hit for Sofia, and had not survived. The spike retracted into the wall as fast as it had come, as if it had never been there, it had been fast, silent and deadly. Perith! Keep holding the pawns back! Sofia mentally yelled as she furiously dumped all of her mana into her signature skill. The spike erupted from the wall again. She died. Death had never stopped Sofia from channeling a spell. Just as she regained consciousness 3 seconds later, her skill resolved. You have invoked Motak, Calamity of Bones. Remaining lifetime, 53s. She barely had the time to see the giant destroyer of bones start to appear and throw itself at the wall of flesh from which the spikes came from. She continued her emergency plan, ripping out her own heart now that her mana was at 0. As she bit into it, she finally activated the avatar of Zeus she had been keeping ready for a long time. A disgusting monster wearing a jagged crown ripped out the flesh wall and clashed against the destroyer skeleton as Sofia's body warped in an unfamiliar way. Spikes erupted from the monster's body, puncturing the Calamity of Bones but unable to kill it or bypass it to reach Sofia. Black lightning started pouring out from Sofia's warping flesh as she howled in pain. She was overwhelmed by the abrupt change from the two transformations happening at once, and finally, she attained her final form, a nasty, twisted being, that was not quite an avatar and not quite a demon. Her mind was clouded by the godly lust and sorrow. Regret. With a thunderclap, she appeared behind the crown-wearing monster that the Calamity of Bones struggled to pin down. Thrusting her elongated clawed hand at the monster, she pierced right through its fishy scales, sparks of electricity flying around. Hollow heart. Another hole appeared in the creature's body, replaced by a pulsating ball of lightning that seared it from the inside. Spikes appeared all over the creature's body once again, piercing Sofia from head to toe in 100 spots. Unluckily for the creature, despite one of the spikes hitting Sofia's mana heart, it was not the first one, so it harmlessly bounced back due to Singularity Edict. Sofia's hand, still in the monster's body, closed down on its spine. As Bone Dominus started to shred the monster from the inside, Sofia did not stop there. Hollow heart. Another lightning-filled hole appeared in the creature's body. Hollow heart. Finally, the thing was weakened enough and Peritha's sanctified grounds just activated. The Calamity of Bones found the strength to close its giant mandibles, crushing the monster to bits. You have defeated Trial Under King of the Abyssal God, level 389. 1 minute has been added to your survival timer. A strange sound came from the other side of the room, and both Sofia and her Calamity of Bone were erased from existence by a beam of dark energy. She did not even have enough mana to cancel it with heat death. When she came back to life 3 seconds later, still a warped abomination and with no unlife runes left, she saw the thing which had killed her. It was a taller and meaner-looking copy of the monster she had just killed, with a much larger crown, and an amount of mana that wasn't in the realm of something a level 299 could ever face. Perith was struggling to fight it off, using all of his skills at once, be it the chains, the gravity well or the shield. Sofia could even tell he had just used greater heal on himself as his shattered bones were being mended back together. Mana gathered in the monster's core. Another dark beam came. Perith disappeared. Regret was all Sofia could do. As she was on the opposite side of the room compared to the monster, she used it to teleport and hide right behind the heart. There was no killing that thing, so destroying the heart was the only solution. Except, the heart was completely untouched by even the dark beam. The monster slowly advanced in Sofia's direction as if to taunt her as she whipped out the admin's key and stabbed at the giant rock full of eyes that silently looked at her every move. The dagger hit one of the eyes and bounced back. It did not even leave a dent. Fuck. The monster approached slowly. Hollow heart. She tried in desperation. It did nothing. 1,000 thoughts crossed her mind in an instant. She even attempted to store the strange thing in her storage, to no avail, as it seemed her storage ring and I could not even lock onto the massive thing. She was out of options. A slender crab-like arm shot out from the monster's back, its long pincers grabbing Sofia by the throat and slowly lifting her up. In contact with the pincers, Sofia felt herself lose control of her magic. She could not even fight back as another pincer clown of the strange crowned creature slowly pierced her chest, reaching for her mana heart. The monster stopped. It made weird sounds, as if cackling. His claw reached for Sofia's heart then back again. It was toying with her, and there was nothing she could do about it. She fought back physically, as it was all she had left, and she could not get the pincers to open at all. No matter how much she strained, it did not even begin to budge. Finally it seemed the monster had enough. In a fast motion, it ripped out Sofia's mana heart like she had done to many of her opponents before. Paradise Toy Box. Sofia stopped time, milliseconds before her incoming death. Bit off more than I could chew again. How much mana? 500 million? That was Sofia's estimate of the monster's mana pool, at a glance. Since it was pointless to even try to fight that, she looked at what Pestle had called the God's Heart instead. In the mana-only view of the stopped time flow, the heart looked just as strange as it did normally. But unlike the normal view, there was some text circling it, written in plain common language with letters shaped of pure mana that couldn't be seen under normal circumstances. Prop T2 Event W3E2. ID equals T232E6429. Name equals Abyss Heart. Tag Instanced Toybox Core. Tag Immortal equals True. Tag Immovable equals True. // Debug Mode equals True. User Key equals Admin Anna. Debug port here. What? Admin Anna? Is this appearing because I hit it with the key? While the words all circled the heart, the mention of the debug port was the only immobile part, with 2 arrows pointing at the word here, which itself was written right above a tiny dot. The dot was a hole in the heart's mana, right where she had struck it with the dagger moments before. This gave Sofia some hope, but that was quickly dashed. She was about to die. She had no time to fiddle with a microscopic hole to try cheating the trial. Even if she had all the time in the world, she still would not know what to do with that debug port. Still, she used every last second she could maintain the stop time to get some extra time to think. Then her control on the toy box ended. Her mana heart was violently ripped out of her chest, bloodlight tearing as it tried to follow it. But Sofia was not dead, she had been almost full life until now. Even with the creature carefully digging in her entrails, she had no runes left, so the constant healing from Bone Dominus had kept her above 99% health points. VPPV actived. That's right, I don't die in one hit, bitch. With the instant of extra time this gave her, Sofia stared hard at the god's heart. She knew where the debug port was, a tiny hole in the thing's endless mass of mana. A tiny hole she could guide her own mana through. Sofia's left eye flashed with a strange light, and the abyss heart disappeared. The monster looked stunned, both that Sofia was alive and that the unthinkable had happened. Yet, despite their god's heart disappearing, nothing had changed, yet. The monster raised its claws to crush Sofia's shining body once and for all. Sofia beat it to the punch. Using Bone Dominus, she crushed her own skull. The storage eye burst open like a ripe fruit. In the margin pocket linked to Sofia's eye, where the god's heart was stored, it no longer had any connection to the physical plane. The physical reality of the trial failed. Everything turned white. You have defeated trial under Queen of the Abyssal God. Error has been added to your survival timer. You have murdered Invulnentity Abyssal God. Chapter 665, Check them specs. In one of the cheaper spectator rooms with hundreds of seats, the crowd was in a serious uproar as the main screen turned white. Calmer than the others were 2 avians sitting in a corner. Quite the sight to behold, Eternam commented, to think I would forget about such a proficient necromancer, and colleague. Truly shameful, yes. Zire cackled from the seat next to him, and she forgot to fix your memory, she should be the one who's ashamed, yes? But she has been quite busy. I'll tell her to go see you after the trial if you want, yes. No, that shall wait, Eternam rebutted, considering her performance here. I am sure she will have no time to spare for this old man any time soon, no. Just look at them, he said, looking down at all the tiered rows of seats below. Reactions were varied, from people being flabbergasted at the sight, to others debating on what had just happened in heated discussions. No doubt she will receive many an offer and proposals in the near future, yes, necromancer or not. Zire laughed again, no need for you to worry about that, no. Not many necromancers around, you might not remember, but you used to talk a lot when she was a teacher, yes. Sofia is not the kind to shun her friends, no. In the room of the Lich tea party, the screens all showed the same pure white light. Does anyone understand what just happened? A bear skeleton Lich asked, scratching his skull. After the king died, I've not the faintest clue, a female skeleton answered. Richard? You have the better understanding of the system among us all, any ideas? It looks like to me that some parameters of the trial changed when she hit the core with Anna's key. But there is only so much one can see through a screen. After that she used the storage eye prototype I gave her to steal the core. That should not work, on several levels, but it did. And my guess is that the instance crashed due to the sudden displacement of its core into the margin, which isn't fully simulated for mana efficiency. She must be stuck in that white void still, he explained to the other liches. The seraphs must be at their wits' end right now, another skeleton wearing dark robes snickered, even the room transfers have just been shut down. We're stuck here unless we disconnect completely. In yet another private room, a small group was waiting for an old dwarf to speak. The tension was palpable as he confirmed his findings. It's the toy box, he announced, I am sure of it. It was faint, but I felt the freeze. Really? The youngest of the group asked, shock in her voice. How? You don't mean to say she got past the guardian like you did, right? I have no clue, the old dwarf answered with a stifled laugh. I'm tempted to say she would not survive that trip, but it is clear that person is not to be underestimated. Her name is worrying enough even without the deep magic. A tall elf in almost integral Mithrium armor paced back and forth in the room, a frown on his face. He stopped and turned to the old dwarf. we should recruit her and her skeletons. No, we have to recruit them, he confidently said, they could be a great asset to the cause. They could probably survive the expeditions like me, the youngest member rejoiced, and I'd no longer have to go alone. Others might have recruited her already. The sheer amount of divine essence she carries is honestly baffling, the old dwarf noted. Nonetheless, it would indeed be a great boon for us to have more people able to go on expeditions, our time runs short. But how do we convince her to join our side, the younger one asked. I have an idea, Sonia, the elf said, staring at the white screen, we'll have you give her the location of another mirror as an incentive for joining. She's almost certain to be interested, and we can gauge whether she is trustworthy and truly capable of surviving an expedition. You still have doubts after what you just witnessed, a fourth member who had been silent until now asked from the side. The crown alone is proof enough in my eyes, he told the others, ask any other orc, Victory's approval is no laughing matter. Sofia was stuck as nothing but a thin stream of consciousness in an endless white void, the constant notification of error messages ringing in her mind for only company. Finally achieving what I set out to do. This should net some real points. Hopefully. That's got to be an historic first, right? Maybe not the longest survival time, though. But I doubt anyone else ever managed to kill the god. Even the queen gave no bonus time, it's safe to say she wasn't supposed to die at all, it's basically certain she never did. Until now. Suddenly the stream of error messages stopped. Oh. Is it about time I get an earful from the seraphs for breaking everything? Event, unavoidable death, awakening of the slumbering god, humanely obliterated. I guess not. That doesn't look like the usual message. Unavoidable death, awakening of the slumbering god, event historical rankings. By default, only your score and 4 closest ranks will be displayed, you may search through the full rankings at your own leisure in your system logs. Rank 1, Sofia Afinareth and Perith, Twin Rule Set, Time, No. Rank 2, Jewel of Truth, Time, 1242. Rank 3, Saria Afinareth, Time, 826. Rank 4, Sen, Time, 816. Rank 5, Sonia Rotfallen, Time, 759. Detailed results. Tier 2 Event, Maximum Point Reward, 145,000,000 TP. Time Breakdown, No. Actual Survival Time, including Bonus 812. Time Reward, assuming Infinite Time, 145,000,000 TP. Hidden Reward, Take the Queen, 55,000,000 TP. Hidden Reward, I am the God now, 100,000,000 TP. Hidden Reward, Beat you at your own game, 1 TP. Hidden Reward, Totally Fair Human Only Reward, 1 message. Total earned, 300,000,001 TP. Placement, Top 0%. You have received Placement Reward, Arc's Gold Star Pin *1. You have received, Folded Piece of Paper *1. You have received 300,000,001 Tournament Points. Current balance, 368,587,021 points. Finally some capital P points. Now we're talking. No wonder the results came so quickly, it looks like even this kind of thing was within the expectations of the admins. Humanely obliterated, totally fair human only reward. I assume the human admin had a lot of fun setting this up. I did learn from the unique titles that he bet a human would be the first to take Victory's crown, so this kind of thing isn't all that surprising, I suppose? Even if I'm not really human anymore. I wish I could read that message but I'm still stuck. Looking at the names. Jewel of Truth dominating again, though I beat him for a second time. But damn, almost 13 minutes. Saria also did well, and Sen too, no wonder he was valuable enough to end up working as a seraph. He might actually be the strongest human alive, since the admin is gone. Well. Richard is there too but he's not alive. And maybe there are some more level 500 humans that I never heard of. And lastly, Sonia Rotfallen. This name rings a bell too. After a quick search, Sofia found the name again in her logs, that person had ranked current 3rd and historic 12th in the dungeon time attack. I see. Must be one of the fakes this time. That winged beast woman who took room 5, maybe? I should try to ask her name if I find the time. Finally I can relax a little. With so many points I can buy the awakening pill and the specialization point right away. I'm quite certain of what I want to do with that specialization now, but I need to get another fusion ticket first. I'll buy the pill as soon as I'm back to the Ark and search for another one of the hidden shops. The only issue is that the new skill might not be specializable right away if my comprehension is too low. I'm so used to the two skills, though, it's hard to believe I wouldn't master the fusion right away. It will probably be fine. It took about half an hour for Sofia and Perith to be sent back to their room in the Ark. There was no one there to welcome them, not even the Odin shopkeeper to sell her the pill nor the seraphs to comment on her performance, so Sofia wasted no time and returned to the hidden shop right away. You have spent 100,000,000 tournament points. Current balance, 268,587,021 points. You have received, specialization point, passive, *1. Sofia bought her third specialization while Perith bought his first. Ahehat. Finally. I should just check the details before I commit to a skill fusion though. Let's see. Skill specialization point, passive. This reward for completing the 4th level of a hidden shop event is not to be used lightly. This will be your third and last specialization. Use it to permanently imprint a known passive skill in your entire being. The chosen specialization will have different effects depending on your chosen ancestry. Item level, -1. Grade, virtual. Please pick an ancestry for you specialization. Wait. I'm not ready yet. Chapter 666, Go to Hell, Sucker. Thankfully, picking an ancestry for the specialization could be done later, so Sofia cancelled everything to go prepare the skills she would put up for specialization. With all of her abilities, it only took her a few minutes to locate another hidden shop. This one was hidden in a very wide empty space between the first and second floor. It was a shooting range game, with teleporting targets appearing on the other side of the room, and many rules stacking up in each level. Quick fire angel bolts proved enough to clear most of the game, but the last level was too much for Sofia. Nevertheless, this let her get her hands on another fusion ticket. You have spent 10,000 tournament points. Current balance, 268,577,021 points. You have received, skill fusion ticket *1. Alright. Time to take some risks. Skill fusion ticket, 1, is being used to combine passive skill Exalted Exoskeleton and passive skill Bone Dominus Imperium, leave 3, are you sure? I'm sure. Skill fusion ticket has been used. Sofia felt a jolt, a stream of energy forcefully rearranging her mana circuits, and in just a few seconds, it was done, and it had even freed up a passive skill slot. Sofia opened up the skill description, but she was almost scared to look. If the fusion was botched, then not only did she just lose 2 of her most used skills, she would also have lost her specialization target. Please be good. Bone Dominus Exaltum, LV.3. The Saintess can control, fuse and reshape all inert bones in a 90, 91.82, 30 * skill level, meters radius. The Saintess can reshape all bones they touch. This will make them unable to be used as new skeletons except as constructs. The Saintess can create and control up to 3, skill level, blessed marrow bone construct. The constructs are considered skeletons, and must be manually controlled. The Saintess's own bones are considered a blessed marrow bone construct while in the Saintess's presence. This does not count toward the construct limit. Blessed marrow bone constructs can now all invoke an exalted exoskeleton at will. Stored bones, 183,252/10,000,000 kg. For each nearby blessed marrow bone construct, the Saintess and all nearby skeletons receive the following effects. Regenerate 0.5% maximum health every second. Bones are 10% sturdier. Smite me for doubting you, high scribes. It's actually great. My own bones were pretty much always a target for the construct already. But now that means the exoskeleton gets the bonus as well. And it freed up a blessing slot. Now Perith and Bookie can also get a proper bone armor. And wings. Sofia almost wanted to try that out right away, but Perith and Bookie were both currently away, actually working on getting started with choosing Perith's own specialization. They're going to love that. Well. Assuming the specialization doesn't get rid of it. And I guess the bone storage was expended by another 10 times as well. It was already damn impossible to fill, but I won't complain about that. Honestly. This is really good. It's almost making me reconsider my choice. I can always buy the false immortality upgrade to a passive and specialize into that. Still. Even with the added blessing, I think the exoskeleton might still be a bit too weak. It rarely ever fully absorbs a hit at all these days. I guess I'll do it. Since Sofia already had all the peace and quiet she needed, alone in the hidden shop room, she summoned a bone chair and sat down by herself. Let's do this. Please pick an ancestry for you specialization. Note, compatibility is calculated by analyzing your blueprint's overall shape and mana pathways. It is recommended to hold onto this specialization ticket to attempt improving your compatibility if your scores are unsatisfactory. Higher compatibility leads to lower mana costs and better associated stat growth. Kleptron Ancestry, Blueprint Compatibility, 27%, the specialization will greatly affect your overall physical and spiritual capabilities. Plus Charisma Growth. Fey Ancestry, Blueprint Compatibility, 99%, the specialization will greatly affect your aura, influencing the mana around you. Plus Aura Growth. Draconic Ancestry, Blueprint Compatibility, 78%, the specialization will greatly affect your signature skill, improving it in many ways. Plus Processing Growth. This same screen again. It actually changed just from the skill fusion. Fey Ancestry went up from 96 to 99 while Draconic went down from 81. Kleptron didn't move. I might actually have chosen Kleptron if the associated stat wasn't useless and I had better compatibility. I imagine it's meant to be more for physical fighters? It's really interesting that this is what we get to choose from. Do humans get higher Fey Ancestry compatibility because there apparently are actual ancestors? Either way, I pretty much have to pick Fey now, don't I? To begin with, Bone Dominus is already about affecting an area around me, so it's almost already like an aura effect, I think. Draconic is also a viable choice though, and Processing is a great stat. But the score went down when I fused the skills, so that's not a super good sign for the compatibility with the skill itself. I almost want to postpone the specialization to try to get a 100% compatibility, but I don't really have that much time in front of me right now. The faster I get the skill, the more time I will have to familiarize myself with it before the next event. Let's just go. You have selected Fey Ancestry, Compatibility, 99%. Aura Growth Forecast, Enormous. Please select a passive skill for specialization with Fey Ancestry. No turning back now. Skill Understanding Sufficient. Skill Specialization Point, passive, has been used. Skill not at maximum level. Forcefully leveling skill. Bone Dominus Exaltum reached level 4. Bone Dominus Exaltum reached level 5. Bone Dominus Exaltum reached level 6. Bone Dominus Exaltum reached level 7, max. Holy shit, that hurts. Sofia yelled as she was overcome by the sudden pain from the skill being upgraded so rapidly. Though that was not the worst pain she had ever had to live through, not by a far margin, it was like unexpectedly stubbing all of her toes at the same time, with the shock traveling throughout her entire body. Please select a skill path. You may enter a cumulative 10-day mana regeneration debt to be offered new paths. Previously unlocked paths may still be selected. Mana regeneration debt. The entirety of the mana you produce is harvested directly by the system for a certain amount of time. You may choose when to donate the mana. Access to further trials and identify will be denied until the debt is fully paid off. This debt will only begin to take effect after leaving the current trial. Ugh. That was unpleasant. And 10 days. I might have to be a bit more conservative about how often I retry this specialization then. This could slow me down a lot. But now the good part. Give me something good. Path of the Bone Light Aurora. Unlocking requirements. Has produced copious amounts of bones. Has produced copious amounts of light. Has witnessed a planar tide aurora. Has mana senses extending further than a kilometer. Has spent extended periods of time without ever touching the ground. Description: the Bone Light Aurora supports their army of undead for the skies above. While they suffer from lowered physical stats, the range and power of their supporting skills are greatly extended. Your enemies shall fear a luminous sky accompanied by the rattling of bones. You may accept this path or choose another one. Current debt: none. At least it's not a joke path like some I've got the previous times. Still sucks, though. Lowered physical stats, really? You have chosen to pay for a new path. Path of the Verdant Grave Grove Keeper. Unlocking requirements. Has won the trust of at least one Dryad. Has won the trust of at least one Nymph. Has won the trust of at least one Fae. Has made contact with at least one sentient tree. Has fought with at least one tree. Owns a Gravekeeper's shovel. Description: shovel in hand, the verdant Grave Grove Keepers is a master of bonewood. They can turn any bone to bonewood, and are able to reanimate plants as bonewood skeletons. They gain additional bonuses when fighting in a verdant environment and when holding a shovel. You may accept this path or choose another one. Current debt, 10 days. Shovel. Right, that one I got from the skeleton back in Sorrow's Palace. It's pretty useless to me though. I could have a better shovel made, though. Or get my scepter a shovel-head-shaped catalyst maybe. I could make it work. Plant skeletons are pretty enticing, and I can grow plants near me anytime now with the nymph graveyard. It's honestly a solid option. I'm keeping an eye on that one, but there's no way I would stop now. You have chosen to pay for a new path. Path of the Skelementalist. Unlocking requirements. Is capable of summoning skeletons. Is capable of summoning sprites. Is proficient in at least one type of elemental magic. Has completed high complexity rituals. Has memorized high complexity enchantments. Description: the Skelementalist is a necromancer master of the elements, always surrounded by sprites. They can use sprites to infuse their skeletons with the power of the elements. You may accept this path or choose another one. Current debt, 20 days. The sprites, hey. I'm not sure about that one. The only sprites I can really summon are Shadow, Light, and Lightning. It's not bad, but I'm not really feeling it. I could have Shaeli try to help me get the other sprites to accept me, but that would have to wait until after the trial. Not great. You have chosen to pay for a new path. Path of the Bone Grabber. Unlocking requirements. Has eaten bones. Has stolen bones. Has traded bones. Has bought bones. Has touched an higher race's bones. Has touched a divinity's bones. Has worn clothing made out of bones. Has used furniture made out of bones. Has an unhealthy obsession for bones. Has done unspeakable things with bones. Description: the Bone Grabber is everywhere bones are, be it in a graveyard or in your closet. As long as you have bones, they are not safe, they are never safe, not from the Bone Grabber. The Bone Grabber will never stop, they grow and grow, until all of this world's bones are under his unavoidable dominion. You may accept this path or choose another one. Current debt, 30 days. Sofia was silent for a few seconds. I don't know if I should be more mad that I just got 10 more days of debt for a joke path, or that I actually considered taking it for even a moment. Whichever scribe is creating those choices, go choke on bones. You have chosen to pay for a new path. Path of the Skull Warden. Unlocking requirements. Owns a sizable collection of skulls. Has extracted their own skull. Has created rituals from skulls. Has skills related to skulls. Has enchanted a skull. Has skills related to curses. Has witnessed the activation of at least one forbidden curse. Has met the divinity of curses. Has suffered from several extreme curses. Description: it's all in your head. Skulls are the vessel of knowledge containing the greatness of the sapient mind. The Skull Warden is a master of curses, and they can enchant the skull of all skeletons under their dominion to give them the capability of applying diverse debilitating curse to their enemies. You may accept this path or choose another one. Current debt, 40 days. Not bad, I guess. I have Zire to thank for that option being available. It sounds fine, but it's not really speaking to me. So far the paths have all been very bone dominus and not very exalted exoskeleton. It would be nice if the defensive part was acknowledged a bit more. Though I guess that is what I get for choosing Fey ancestry. These are all specialization that have more to do with the aura around me than affecting me directly. Only one thing I can do. You have chosen to pay for a new path. Path of the Bone Imperator. Unlocking requirements. Owns a crown fit of a ruler. Owns a mantle fit of a ruler. Owns a scepter fit of a ruler. Has experience being a religious figure. Has experience being royalty. Has connections with emperors. Owns land. Owns a castle. Leads over 1,000 skeletal subjects. Description: there are no bounds to the generosity of the Bone Imperator. Their dominion spreads far and wide, their imperial blessings gifting each subject with a newfound sacred strength. Your subjects have come, they will fight at your holy side, Imperator. You may accept this path or choose another one. Current debt, 50 days. So it's just the same skill but better, essentially. From the description, I assume I get a longer range and as many blessed constructs as I want? And they might be stronger than the ones I have now? I think I could just stop there, actually. This sounds great. The effects of the blessed constructs are cumulative to begin with, the more I get, the better. Alright, it's decided. I'm taking. Sofia marked a pause. Not this. Ha. Bet you didn't expect that, scribes. You thought I would stop at the first great choice. Screw that. This was 100 million tournament points. I don't want great, I want exceptional, you hear me? Go again. You have chosen to pay for a new path. Path of the Dread Splinterer. Unlocking requirements. Is an unreasonable person. Is notoriously crazy. Throws caution to the wind. Breaks a lot things, bones included. Does not know what is good for them. Has a bad tendency to kill themselves. Description: bones tend to violently break in the Dread Splinterer's presence, all of them. The force they can exert on bones is greatly increased, and they are able to transmit damage on their bones to other targets. Additionally, the Dread Splinterer is able to learn the skill Summon Bone. You may accept this path or choose another one. Current debt, 60 days. So they do hear me, hey. Hey now, who exactly is being unreasonable here? Half of these requirements I don't even meet. And you want to show me this and still pretend the paths we get for specialization are random? You're lucky the spectators can't watch me in between the events, wouldn't want to expose the specialization scam. Good path though. Summon Bone is very tempting, I won't lie, and it sounds like it has some good defensive capabilities, for once. But still. I usually like my bones not broken, I have to say. Surely we can do better than that. You have chosen to pay for a new path. Path of the Bone Light Sculptor. Unlocking requirements. Has a lot of experience sculpting bones. Has a lot of experience shaping light. Has observed ascended level sculptures. Has observed lost epic sculptures. Has created functional bone golems. Description: the Bone Light Sculptor is a master of skeletal shapes. Their power over light and bones is unmatched. They are able to turn sculptures of light into bone golems and sculptures of bone into light golems. You may accept this path or choose another one. Current debt, 70 days. It is interesting, but I am not interested, sorry. Skelms are nice, but I can make them myself already. And this honestly sounds awful defensively. Where did the exalted exoskeleton even go? Am I going to need to make a bone wing golem to be able to fly? Pass. You have chosen to pay for a new path. Path of the Everlasting Archbishop. Unlocking requirements. Has died more than 100 times. Is not an undead. Has had healing related skills in every skill category. Has resurrected dead undead. Holds the essence of both life and death. Has overhealed for more than 1 billion health points in total. Has overkilled for more than 1 billion health points in total. Has survived redacted. Description: the Everlasting Archbishop is one who saw the allure of undeath and chose to stay alive instead. Obnoxiously alive. None clings to both life and death more than the Everlasting Archbishop. Fear the Archbishop, for their life cannot be extinguished, and the death they bring cannot be either. You may accept this path or choose another one. Current debt, 80 days. The description is a bit too vague on this one. It does sound powerful, from the wording and the requirements. Survived redacted. Are we talking about that time I actually died? I'm a bit surprised the system has any records of that at all, honestly. I will think about it. Give me more, though. You have chosen to pay for a new path. Path of the Angel of Bones. Unlocking requirements. Is on friendly terms with at least one angel. Is on friendly terms with at least one archangel. Is able to transform. Has worn bone armor for over 10,000 hours. Has modified bone armor to suit their tactical needs. Has modified bone armor to look cool and imposing. Has taken fights to space. Description: O Angel of Bones. Pale Watcher of Dust. Guide us through silence, faithful and just. Your wings of light obscure our shadows. Carve our deadly sins in your blessed marrow. In the limbo's hush, we hear your tone. A song of unrest, from flesh to bone. You may accept this path or choose another one. Current debt, 90 days. Well. The description isn't exactly saying much, but it's clear this is a very strong option even from the name alone. I'm worried that it might be yet another transformation skill though. It's starting to be a lot. I wanted to be a necromancer, not some weird shapeshifter. Is it me or has the general quality of the options been better than usual? I better not say that out loud, but it's a welcome change. I was worried I might have several years of mana debt, but it looks like it might not go that far. Still, I'm not satisfied with what I got yet. You have chosen to pay for a new path. Path of the Smith of the Unliving. Unlocking requirements. Has experience creating bone items. Has experience creating enchanted bones. Has experience wielding bone weapons. Has experience using bone armor. Has received approval from creation for their crafts. Owns multiple essence-infused items. Is capable of entering a state of unlife. Has learned about the dragons and their auto-mutilation crafts. Description: skeletons using regular weapons? For shame. Bones weapons are where it's at. And bone armor, obviously. How many enchantments can you even put on that thing? I heard Lumion bones were pretty enchantable, you know? Try hard enough and the weapons might even become skeletons themselves. You may accept this path or choose another one. Current debt, 100 days. Thanks but no thanks. I am good. Got more than enough stuff and things and baubles already. And I'm going to be getting those tournament master items too, no need to make my own, Sofia said with a wink to no one. Debts is starting to stack up, but well. You have chosen to pay for a new path. Path of the Bone in Roast Master. Sofia did not extend the description of that one. Oh come on. 10 days of debt. It's 10 days. Be serious. You may accept this path or choose another one. Current debt, 110 days. You have chosen to pay for a new path. Path of the Satellite Lich. Unlocking requirements. Has gained the respect of a powerful lich. Has learned all there is to know about becoming a lich. Is considered a potential recruit by a gang of organized liches. Is capable of self-resurrection. Is immune to soul erasure. Is immune to reality slipping. Has protection against soul tracking. Does not want to be an undead. Description: the Satellite Lich is a master of being everywhere all at once. Why have a single phylactery when every single one of your summoned skeletons can be one? Embrace permanent unlife. As long as you're not alone, your story isn't over. You may accept this path or choose another one. Current debt, 120 days. Does this even have anything to do with the original skill anymore? Not really my thing. If I ever change my mind about the lich thing, I can do it myself, as you pointed out. You have chosen to pay for a new path. Path of the Sucker of Bones. Once again Sofia did not even bother to expand the description. You may accept this path or choose another one. Current debt, 130 days. Sofia let out a loud sigh and started going on a rant by herself. Another joke choice. Well, that's starting to become a long debt. I'm on a deadline, you know. I wouldn't want to make scripture wait too much. Maybe I should stop here and pick from the ones I have. Is what a reasonable person would say. Screw this dumb ass shit. You're the sucker, your Fey ancestors are the suckers. You have chosen to pay for a new path. You have chosen to pay for a new path. You have chosen to pay for a new path. You have chosen to pay for a new path. You have chosen to pay for a new path. Error / generation overload / please wait. You have chosen to pay for a new path. Error. You have chosen to pay for a new path. Error. You have a new path. Path of the Sovereign of Unshackled Frames. Unlocking requirements. Help next. Please stop. Description: each body a painting. The Sovereign of Unshackled Frames' cursed aura allows them to manipulate all bones in their vicinity. The skeletons of near-death enemies will do all they can to free themselves and join the call of their new sovereign. All shall paint themselves a new future, with the stunning colors of their warm entrails. You may accept this path or choose another one. Current debt, 470 days. Finally some damned acknowledgement. See. I knew you could do it. Thanks. About time. Congratulations, you have unlocked the specialized skill, Sovereign of Unshackled Frames. Chapter 667, Duovalur. Sovereign of Unshackled Frames. The influence of the Sovereign of Unshackled Frames is dependent on the target's location within the aura. Effects from the far aura are also applied to the field aura and close aura. Effects from the field aura are also applied to the close aura. Far aura effects. Bones are 10% sturdier. The Sovereign has weak control over all inert bones. Skeletons regenerate 0.5% maximum health every second. Inert skeletons will become skeletal thralls and fight for the Sovereign if need be. Field aura effects. Bones are 40% sturdier. The Sovereign has very strong control over all inert bones. The Sovereign has weak control over all bones. Skeletons regenerate 1% maximum health every second. Friendly skeletons and skeletal thralls gain exalted exoskeleton. Skeletal thralls gain bone arsenal. The skeletons of enemies under 25% health will try to free themselves to become skeletal thralls. Close aura effects. Bones are 100% sturdier. The Sovereign and nearby skeletons regenerate 5% maximum health every second. The Sovereign has the Principality of Bones. Additionally, the Sovereign of Unshackled Frames gains access to the Painted Halls. Bones and skeletal thralls may be stored in the Painted Halls. Skeletal thralls may not exit the Painted Halls. The Sovereign of Unshackled Frames gain the special skills, Unshackle the Halls Blessing of Permanent Frame. Unshackle the Halls. Release all skeletal thralls from the halls, they gain Skeletal Frenzy, deal 20% more damage, and will crumble to dust after 24 hours. Released thralls cannot be brought back to the halls. Blessing of Permanent Frame. Bless any inert bone entity to become a blessed skeleton frame. The blessed skeleton frame cannot move, is 1000% sturdier, and has higher magical resistance, higher physical resistance, status effect immunity and displacement immunity. Only one blessed skeleton frame may exist at a time. Whoa, that's a lot. Wait, no, I'm not even done reading. Skeletal Frenzy. Severely limits cognitive ability. All physical stats are doubled. Will try to free other skeletons from their shackles. Bone Arsenal. Bone morph into a random combat-ready skeletal thrall. Single-use skill. Possible morphs include Slasher, Guardian, Archer, Knight, Lancer. Many thralls using Bone Arsenal at once can rarely result in the creation of a single Bone Colossus instead. Can I get an estimate on how big the aura zones are? Due to achieving your third specialization with the Fey ancestry, you now have access to the Aura stat sub-menu. Aura. Aura, 1261, 435 *2.9. Aura growth, unable to estimate, please level up. Aura modifiers. Quintessential. Mana manipulation. Dreams of a Demon Which Gods Envy, March of the Envoy. Pillar of Creation. Shroud of Akana. Avatar of Zeus. Fey Ancestry Specialization. Currently active aura effects. Mana Sense. Lingering. Demonic Aura, I win, you lose. Sovereign of Unshackled Frames. Estimated aura range, distance from Mana Heart. Close, 12.6 meters. Field, 126 meters. Far, 3.78 kilometers. Holy shit! That explains so much. So Quintessential was actually an aura multiplier? The aura range is just the range of my mana senses and the delimitations line up perfectly with the breakpoints of how well I can see things with it. I've been using my aura this whole time and I wasn't even aware. Pillar of Creation extends the range of my aura by up to 100 times when it's active, then. I'm glad I didn't manage to get rid of it. Sofia lost herself reading the skill and the aura menu over and over several times. There was so much to unpack she did not even know where to start. Wait a minute. Where is the mana cost? This is all free. Sofia gulped audibly, it's time I start to seriously invest into aura. The lingering effect is from Dodge, me, can I finally get to know what it does? Lingering, some effects of aura linger on their target for a time even after they exit the effective range. Currently affected. Exalted Exoskeleton. Bone Sturdiness bonuses. Regeneration bonuses. Skeletal Thralls. That does answer a few of my questions. Looks like I'll have to do some testing for the duration. Principality of Bones. Principalities are the level 450 bonus from the admin key. I suppose I got one early? I don't feel any different, strangely enough, it's just like I still have the old usual Bone Dominus. There was no mention of her being able to summon the exoskeleton anywhere in the skill anymore, so she tried that first. And it worked just as well as usual, pulling the bones from her bone storage to create a form-fitting bone armor and skeletal wings. The The process was a bit faster than usual, but it was still the same thing Sofia was used to. That felt different somehow. Because of the storage? Sofia focused trying to access the bone storage. It was much slower than usual. Concentric circles of mana appeared around her, and after a few seconds, she disappeared. What in the Lord's names? Sofia had entered the painted halls. She was in a very tall square-shaped room, its every walls made entirely of different shades and shapes of bones. The pillars were in the shape of stacked skeletons carrying each other, ornaments in the shape of bent skeletons acted as arches holding the ceiling, everything was bones. Each wall was decorated with a painting of dried blood on sculpted bones. On the wall at the very back of the halls, the first painting was an image of Sofia herself as an infant held in her mother's arms. After that, each wall's painting was an image directly from her memory. Mom. Her mind almost blanking out, Sofia walked through the halls, looking at each wall. The halls were a succession of square rooms, each decorated with all of the most vivid memories she had. For example, in the first room, one wall was an archway leading to the next room, while the other two were a painting of the mountains rising to the sky at the start of Savoln's ebb, and a painting of her old recurring nightmare in which Saria gets engulfed by the waves. The floor of the halls were covered in vast amounts of neatly organized piles of bones, which Sofia recognized as everything that was previously in her bone storage, and as there were quite a few rooms, the place was quite spacious. The very last painting of the last room showed the eye-covered core of the abyssal god getting struck by the admin key. That's where it ends. Are there going to be more rooms added when I make more memories? This is more space than I need already. I never expected the bone storage to be like that. This must be in the margin, I assume. I don't feel anything outside. How do I leave? The answer to that question was simply the same way she got in. Back in the hidden shop, Sofia needed to sit down again. Summoning a small bone orb from the hall with some difficulty, she played around with it a bit, trying to understand what exactly Principality of Bones was, as that part of the skill came without a description. She understood very quickly what it entailed as she threw the bone ball around. Within her close aura, in a 12 meters radius sphere around her, her control over bones was basically absolute. Just by moving the bone orb as she usually would with Bone Dominus, she could reshape it very fast and however she wanted, have it fly anywhere and with a lot of force, she could even slam it into the ground violently enough to create cracks, all that without even lifting a finger. Shatter. She tried, done with her early experimenting, willing for the ball to crumble. The bone ball was instantly covered in cracks, before falling apart like a crumbling ball of bone sand, forming a yellowish pile on the ground. If I can do that directly to people's bones. With a bit more testing, since there was plenty of space in the shooting range, she estimated that in the field aura, her control was more or less 50% better than it used to be with Bone Dominus, while it was about 30% weaker than the original in the far aura. 70% of Bone Dominus in a 4 km zone. This is a bit ridiculous. Bookie, I know you're busy with Perith, but could you send me your book form back, please? The book appeared near Sofia and Bookie summoned himself too. I'm here. Oh, is Perith done picking his specialization already? No. He's still gambling like you, he likes none of the choices he got. Bookie confided. Really? What did he specialize in? Nice try Sofia, but it's still a secret. Bookie answered with a smug look. For some reason he and Perith wanted the specialization to be a surprise, and similarly Sofia hadn't shared her specialization with them yet. Aha, alright. Well, my own specialization is over. Want to help me try it out? Sofia offered, you can summon anyone. I want to see. Just try on me. Bookie excitedly requested, jumping in place. Are you sure? Well, I'll have to try something a bit less violent than what I had in mind then. Let's attempt a Velour special. Bookie, do a backflip. Sofia said, manipulating Bookie's bones with her principality. Bookie was forced to perform a perfectly executed backflip. Wayo! I didn't know I could do that, Bookie said in shock, again. Sure. Sofia controlled Bookie's bones to make him do a circle around her with a series of backflips like a professional gymnast. I'm a backflipper. Are you that happy about it? Sofia teased, you didn't even try the main feature yet. There's more. Come on, Bookie, this is my third specialization, did you think it was only backflips? Try to summon a bone armor, Sofia said with a wink. Armor? Me? That's right. All skeletons get an armor now. To Bookie's surprise, a glowing bone armor covered his clothes, a pair of skeletal wings growing from its back. Woohoo! I have the same armor as Sofia. Your specialization is the bestest, he exclaimed with a gleeful voice from under his bone helmet. Right. With a smirk, Sofia summoned Crowy, and forcefully gave Crowy an armor. It formed in the shape of an actual crow, feathers and all, made entirely of finely sculpted glowing bones. So cute. Sofia pet Crowy's fake bone head. All skeletons get an armor. All skeletons. She thought, her eyes on one particular line of her status sheet. Awakening of the Five Calamities. Chapter 668, It's over, Trial, I have the high ground. Sofia played around with her new aura and Bookie for a few minutes, until Perith appeared out of nowhere. Oh my! Sofia exclaimed, did you steal that from Peace's domain? She asked with a smirk, it looks like I don't need to ask which skill you specialized. Can I see? Perith's new specialization took a very hard-to-miss form, as what was previously a glorious halo of light above his head had taken a radical shift toward the uncanny. The halo had become 3 radiant concentric golden rings hovering silently behind his back, 2 of them spinning clockwise while the center one spun in the inverse direction. Most importantly, they were covered in wide-open eyes with golden pupils that seemed to watch everything. Perith gave Sofia a simple nod and opened the skill description for her. Ophanim Corona. Be not afraid. Increase the strength of all holy and light-related skill for the user and allies in view by 50%. Does not affect itself. Whenever your main target attacks one of your allies instead of you, they gain a stack of judgment, up to 3 times. Only one target may be judged at a time. Each stack of judgment gives plus 50% damage taken from all sources, speed dash 15%. You can divine warp to targets with at least 2 stacks of judgment. Targets with 3 stacks of judgment cannot regain health or stamina. Additional effect, compensation for the inability to improve stat growth. Divine cognition, processing plus 100%. Divine warp, instantly teleport to the target location through the superphysical plane unleashing a devastating explosion of light. No cost. Static 3 seconds could loan. That was definitely a good choice, even it looks a bit freaky. The effective bonus went from 24 to 50%, and the judgment thing is it's certainly something. We'll have to do some testing on what exactly counts as attacking one of your allies, there might be ways to cheat that. Imagine if we just send a bird crashing into 3 attacks of your target and that counts. I doubt it will, but we won't know for sure until we try. Care to activate the grounds to see how much health we get now? The ground lit up instantly with golden light as if Perith had been waiting for it. His health was already upwards of 170 million points in sanctified grounds before, so it was going to be even higher now. Sofia looked at her own health first. Health, 1642 443/1642 443. Yet a 60% increase. Pretty straightforward. And now, for skeletons. It's a 240%. Sofia brought up Perith's stats. Pill. Health, 223 412 504/223 412 504. Stamina, boneheaded. Mana, 432 994/439 166. We broke 200 millions just like that. Afterwards, Sofia spent more time with Bookie and Perith just talking skills and trying out different interaction for a bit, until Bookie got bored, and asked about the hidden shop they were in and if Sofia wanted to summon Pestle for it. No, it's a target practice game. If anything I would have you summon the archer skeleton, but I don't think he'll do. But no need anyway, now that you're both here I can go all out. Get me the high priest's speed buff and the sanctified grounds. Sofia told them, summoning the full bloodlight echo skull choir, and chomping down on a mana pearl. The last difficulty of the shooting range hidden event involved destroying dozens of moving and teleporting targets a second, from hundreds of meters away, all the while avoiding any of the fake target and also being shot at by an automatic cannon on the other side of the room. Thankfully the targets did not need to be hit very hard, so the basic 10,000 mana bolts were enough. Even with her full buff setup, it took Sofia 2 attempts to triumph over the last level, throwing out a barrage of angel bolts at a rate never seen before, micromanaging the aim of every single bloodlight echo. Marksman's Nightmare Shop, Level 5. Show me the unique. You Tournament Masters Feller of the Hydra Bow. Carefully crafted from the rarest materials by a genius craftsman, the master bow duplicates all directional skills cast through it. Number of directional projectiles *3. Directional projectiles gain higher target tracking. Using physical arrows, shoot 99 additional target tracking mana arrows instead. Cannot be destroyed. Must be primed before use. Price, 10000000000 TP. Aw crap, of course it's a bow. Tripled angel bolts is pretty ridiculous, but I can't really give up my staff. A new catalyst could be nice though if we find one. Morn will be happy to learn that there are actually master weapons, I guess, unless you're interested. Parith shook his skull. As expected, your weapons of light are hard to beat, especially now that you can throw them. Would you consider a master shield if we find one? Parith strongly nodded at the idea. He seemed more than a bit enthusiastic. With a real shield, brother Parith can make the weapon in his other hand stronger because the magic isn't split. Bookie chimed in. Let's find it then. If there's one. We have plenty of time until the next event, I think. The others haven't even returned yet, so we might as well. You can summon all the scouts, Bookie. It only took a word and pestle, and a swarm of skeletal rats and birds invaded the Ark. By the time Trialise started to fill the halls of the Ark again, Sofia had found time to buy and eat an awakening pill, Parith to optimize more of his skills, and the skeletons had uncovered a total of 4 more hidden shops that had yet to be cleared. Sofia was in the process of trying to clear one, which was some kind of giant treasure hunt, and was proving to be a huge headache even at the lower difficulties, when the next wave of events rolled around. In a luxurious room, the 4 seraphs were bent over a table displaying holographic images. It's time for the midpoint event, the Exidian seraph said with a tired voice. What do we do? Can we really leave it as is? I see no issue with it, Aphil, the Andorian seraph answered with a thin smile. This is not the first necromancer to come, and it won't be the last. The potential for issues here is indeed very high, the beastman seraph said, but that is on us, not the Trialise. I'm for using the emergency backup event instead, Mid chimed in. I'm not even done fixing the last instance crash yet. Are you out of your mind? Aphil retorted, the emergency backup is not even fully functional, they never finished making it. They could actually die. I also think it is best not used, despite the troubles that Trilum might bring again, the beastman agreed. Ah, I can tell you're not dealing with the back end of her crap like I am. Well, fine, whatever, but when she breaks everything I'm not the one fixing the casino, Mid reluctantly answered. Besides, even with Nex here, I have a feeling we'll end up using the backup anyway. Surely not, the Exidian mumbled, uneasiness oozing from her voice, surely not. 4th wave, Gambler's End, 2nd Death Casino. Singular event, everyone participates in the same event. Although you are in groups with a shared score, you will be able to participate in both solo and group activities at your own discretion. Ranking and scoring, the value of items and money earned by the end of the event will be converted to TP. Only half of what you have earned is kept upon death. Groups will be ranked directly by total TP earned. Akavarad, the evil archlich Chronomancer, has retired. He is now running the 2nd Death Casino, where fools from all around the world can come gamble with their life. Can you beat the Lich at his own game, make a fortune, and escape with your life still within your own hands? Beware, the undead dealers of the casino have eyes everywhere, and they no longer have a life on the line. Before they could even reunite to discuss a strategy, Sofia, Parith, Morn and Cooley were all teleported together to a heavily guarded room with no windows. They were standing on a teleportation circle. Since they were not being attacked, Sofia's first reflex was to expand her mana senses. We're deep underground. 4 hulking zombies were waiting in the room's corner, while a skeleton mage was wiping the forehead of his skull, breathing heavily. He wore nothing and only held a shabby-looking wooden staff with a blue ball-shaped catalyst embedded at the top. I have to believe that this guy is supposed to have teleported us here? He barely has any mana. There we go, the skeleton said, out of breath. This should be the last group for today. Welcome to the 2nd Death Casino, dear customers, he greeted the group. For starters, please store your weapons away. Visible weapons are not allowed on the premises. We have a locker here if you have no storage device. I already dislike the place, Morn grumbled under her breath as she stored all of her swords. Now, do not be like that, the skeleton mage said, we are a fine establishment. It is of crucial importance that everyone feels welcome here, he chastised Morn. All right, all the weapons are away? Good. Now you may enter, he told everyone, if you can. With a subtle raise of his staff, the skeleton teleported away, disappearing from the room, while the 4 zombies readied their swords. Parith, well. Parith executed the order, casting gravity while the 4 charging zombies were pulled in even faster. As the room was relatively small, they were quickly in the critical range of 12.6 meters, entering Sofia's close aura. All it took was a single thought, Sofia stopped the zombies' bones. While their skeletons were frozen in place, their flesh was not, pulled in by the gravity well, the two were forcefully separated. 4 mounds of rotten flesh collapsed around the group, while their skeletons were left hanging a few steps behind, still covered in torn shreds of their putrid corpses. You have defeated Elite Monster 2nd Death's Bouncer, level 299*4. Sofia stored the bones, and looked up, smiling at a tiny and easy-to-miss bone spider that had been observing the group from the ceiling. I will be keeping those, thanks. Chapter 669, It's not cheating if you don't get caught. I didn't know your bone skill could do that, Morn commented, prodding the boneless corpse of a zombie with her wooden sandal. Because I couldn't, Sofia answered, I might have just unlocked my 3rd specialization. The Abyss God event was a big point earner. You just went and spent 100 million already? Are you not scared you might not be able to afford the pill? Cooley asked. Oh, no, Sofia said with a chuckle, I bought that too. Considering you should have had around 60 million after the Demon Invasion event, that means you got the maximum reward for the solo event? 145 million points? Did you actually survive longer than the historic first? Cooley asked, wide-eyed. Not really. It's a messy story, I'll explain on the way, better not to waste too much time here, Sofia answered, starting to walk toward the door. How did you two do, by the way? Historic 15th, Cooley answered first, doesn't compare to a first place but it's still a gold star pin and 30 million points. Wah! Only 30 for 15th place. Sofia repeated, stopping in her tracks. The point drop-off is pretty damn steep, Morn said from the rear of the group, 21st place here. Also a gold star, but only 8 million points. Maybe I should keep my mouth shut about getting 300 million. I'll make it up to them by earning a lot this time too. The group entered the casino. There were more zombies guarding doors on the way to the main hall, but they were not hostile. In just about a minute of walking, the group found the main hall of the casino, a vast, bustling and noisy underground place bathed in warm lights where Triolese and undead alike were playing all kinds of games, some traditional ones, some much less so. Looks like we really are the last group to arrive, Cooley observed, that feels a bit unfair, but I suppose I do not see a timer anywhere. Personally I expected a bit more information from the event prompts. It says nowhere that we have to play the games here to accumulate value, Morn said, not a huge gambler. So unless you need me for something, I'll see if I can find another way to make myself useful. Maybe they have an arena for fights or something. I think I'll try my luck at some good old gambling, Cooley said next. I actually know a lot of the games I can see from here. Morn and Cooley then looked at Sofia, waiting for her opinion. Well, I'm not sure. I think I will go with Cooley and gamble for a bit, for now. I doubt that's the real way to score a secure first place, though. It does sound a little too straightforward, doesn't it? Cooley agreed. To begin with, we will need to understand how to leave, since we were teleported here. I'm already wondering whether most other people here will be forced into dying to get out. But beginning by observing while we relax and gamble a bit would be nice, nah. I will leave you to it then, Morn said, if you need me. I shouldn't be hard to find. Parith interrupted, raising a hand to get the women's attention. He took a few steps toward Morn and nodded to her. I guess he is more into fighting as well, Sofia said, and he can teleport you to us if need be, so that works out nicely. Have fun. Sure, don't gamble us into the ground, Morn joked as she turned around. She departed and Parith followed. All right. Cooley said, sounding more energetic than usual, where do we start, any preference? You probably know the games better than me, so you can choose, just give me a second to give instructions to my skeletons. Got it. Bookie. Come out. I'm here. Bookie exclaimed after summoning himself. Sofia patted his skull and gave him the instructions through her thoughts to avoid being overheard. All right, Bookie, you've got a very important mission today. Summon Crowy for me, then find a secluded place and summon Pestle, and the rats. You will be the one directing them this time. Your job is to secretly explore the private parts of the casino. In particular, you need to be on the lookout for two things. First, try to find where they keep all the money. They must have a well-guarded place with a huge safe or something like that. If you find heavily enchanted doors, that's a good place to start. And secondly, try to locate the owner, but we don't know how high level the lich is, and Necromancer sounds like a class that shouldn't even exist, so be very careful. Send me Pestle if you find anything, or a rat if she's busy. Got everything? Understood, leave it to me. Bookie confirmed with a thumbs up, quickly summoning Crowy before running off. Everything taken care of? Cooley asked, seeing Bookie depart. I found a nice place to start off with. After you. Cooley led Sofia to a tall contraption standing next to a wall. A skeleton attendant was waiting nearby, wearing a dapper uniform and small cap in red and white, the colors of the casino. There's no one here. Ladies. Are you willing to give our strength test crystal a try? The skeleton attendant heckled them as soon as he saw them approach. At the same time, someone approached Sofia from behind, putting a hand on her shoulder. Crowy almost gave the hand a violent peck, but Sofia told it to hold it just in time. Yes? Sofia asked, turning to get a look at the person. It was a random human guy she did not remember the face of, who had been sitting at a game table just a few steps away. You're that necromancer who got first place in the dungeon time attack, right? He asked. I get that you might be strong, but I wouldn't play this skeleton's game if I were you. It's a scam. All the people I've seen trying for the hour I've been at this table lost their wager. Not a single one got it. Really? Thanks for the heads up. I'll see what this guy has to say, still. But I'll keep that in mind, Sofia told the man. Well, did my job warning you, he answered with a smile, turning back to the card game he was playing against a pair of zombies at his table. Hoy, I had 4 cards down. Why is there only 3 left? He immediately complained to the zombies, one of them rolling his eyes and slipping the man a card out from under the table. Of course they cheat. They have more cards under the table, in their clothes, and that zombie on the right even has one inside of his hat. Meanwhile, the skeleton attendant had been explaining the game to Cooley. It's that simple, he told her, beat the house score and we double your wager. All right, Cooley said, turning around to speak to Sofia, did you listen to the rules? I was talking to that other guy but I overheard yet, just gotta hit the crystal as strong as you can, no weapons, 1 attempt per person. Nothing too special. I'm the best suited for that though. Unless I go all out and burn all my unlife runes to stack 1 with suffering and go to my demon form. Not sure I want to start off the event like that. But I am, Cooley confidently said, give it a try first with a low bet, to see what we're dealing with, and if it looks promising I'll bet big on my attempt. Sure. What can I bet? Sofia asked the skeleton. Anything of value, even your life, if you so desire, the skeleton answered very professionally. We take everything from gold to stones and convert them to our crystal token house currency. You can bet directly or convert things into tokens first and bet them. Can I buy tokens with gold coins? Certainly, the conversion rate from gold coin to token is 100 to 1. Suddenly a system message popped up in the center of Sofia's vision. Warning! Items and currency lost or converted to token will be confiscated. They will be available to reclaim on the Ark for a TP fee proportional to the item value. They can really scam us out of our things, then? Interesting. Sofia produced a tiny gold ingot worth 100 coins, 1 token is enough to play, right? It would make for a meager prize even if you win, the skeleton said, looking at Sofia like she was a beggar on the street, but certainly. He grabbed the gold ingot and the ingot simply disappeared from his hand, turning into a small purplish crystal coin. Space magic? I barely felt that. Are you sure you do not want to wager more? The skeleton pressed her, holding the token up. Plenty sure. Can I try? The skeleton sighed and stepped aside. Go ahead, dear customer. Cooley also stepped aside with a nod, leaving Sofia plenty of space to strike the blue crystal embedded into the weird pillar-like machine. That's the score I have to beat, right? Sofia asked as she readied her fist, nodding up at the red glowing numbers shining above the crystal. Indeed, the skeleton confirmed. The house score was of 93,562, whatever that meant. I might not go all out but I'll still give it a good try. In a few steps back, Sofia fully activated Runeforged Overlord, and rushed forward as she punched, activated the chaos state of dodge, me for some extra strength. With all of that, victory's crown, and the Olympian title, Sofia's strength was nothing to scoff at, especially for a monocentric class. With a loud bang that drew the surrounding table's attention, Sofia's dragon scale armguard struck the crystal. She felt the recoil of the impact travel through her arm, but her bones were intact. And so was the crystal. Sofia's punch did not even leave a scratch. Another row of numbers appeared above the other one. 19,443. Good attempt, the skeleton attendant snickered from the side. I will be keeping your wager. Hey! I might just about reach the record if I had really gone all out. Probably completely shatter it if I also had the Sanctified Grounds buff. I bet Perith can beat that as well. So, do you think you can do it? Sofia asked coolly, who wordlessly stared at the numbers above the crystal. Only one way to find out, she said. How much is my life worth? She asked the skeleton. Oh ho? We have a serious client here, I see. Let me call our appraiser. Sofia's mana senses noticed the appraiser coming from underground before he even got there. She easily recognized the incoming entity from the mana movement alone. Ghost. The blurry semi-transparent figure of a thin man with a monocle emerged from the ground. Yes, he asked the skeleton. This lady here wants to wager her life. The ghost said, observing coolly through his monocle. Your mana heart seems quite valuable, he analyzed. I can offer you the maximum amount we allow for singular trades. 500,000 token. 50 million gold? It's definitely a sum, but a bit cheap for a life. Fine by me, wagering my life, then, Cooley confidently said. I hope you know what you're doing, Cooley. Very well. The skeleton attendant rejoiced. Whenever you are ready, most valued customer, he told Cooley, stepping back with a curt bow. Like Sofia before her, Cooley took a step back and got into position, clenching her fists. Sofia observed the mana movement with the guildmaster's body. Whatever she was doing, it did not look like the preparations for a simple punch. After a long silence, the guildmaster struck. Her fist collided with the crystal and then it made a strange sound, like the deafening ringing of a gong. Only then Sofia noticed the shift. The entire casino had turned silent, everything was slowed down to a crawl, stuck in place. This was a familiar thing, Cooley's signature skill, slowing down their perception of time. Cooley punched again and again, each strike sending shockwaves through the air. She unleashed an endless flurry of strikes at the crystal in just a few instants, while nobody could see it. The crystal cracked, fissured, and with one last, stronger punch, shattered with a bang, completely demolishing the wall behind it and sending several nearby game tables and the people sitting at it flying. No one noticed. A job well done, Cooley said, rubbing her hands with a wide smile. She turned around, gave a thumbs up to Sofia, then carefully took back her initial punching position, her closed fist against where the crystal used to be. Then her signature skill ended. The wall reappeared, the crystal too, along with everything else, perfectly unharmed, as if nothing had ever happened, and time started flowing again in the casino. Akakak. Looks like I just won big, the skeleton cackled from the side. Cooley pulled back her fist, and to every onlooker's surprise, the crystal cracked, shattered, and fell to bits on the floor. The red numbers above finally updated, much to the dismay of the skeleton attendant who had turned silent. They showed the same value on both lines, 999. Chapter 670, I have a family. This can't be right. The crystal, the skeleton attendant finally stammered as he stared at the debris littering the ground. Not my fault if your crystal is so brittle I can break it in one punch, Cooley snarked. Time to pay up, Mr. Skeleton. That'll be 1,000,000 tokens, she said holding out her hand. And no. You must have cheated somehow. This shouldn't be possible, not for someone like you. Nah? What's that supposed to mean, hey? Want me to punch you next? Cooley asked in a much deeper voice than her usual. Fine. You'll get your tokens. Follow me to the exchange desk, I can't give out that much myself. Better. Hey, Cooley, Sofia called out, I have to go check on something, take Crowy with you and go get the prize, I'll be right back. It can't wait? Alright, I'll join you when I'm done, the crow can guide me, right? Yes, Crowy is very smart, he will guide you to me if you ask him, but I should be back soon anyway. Nice, hop on here Sir Crow. Can we go? The skeleton attendant pressed, visibly annoyed at the delay. After you. Cooley took a few steps following the skeleton, curiously throwing glances at the tiny crow on her shoulder. She quickly looked back to see if she could catch the direction Sofia was going to go, but she was already gone. Sofia had rushed to a spot between two machines where no one was looking, and had taken a short trip through the spirit realm, reappearing on the floor below the main hall in a small room occupied by a single skeleton sitting behind a desk. The ghost from before had come from much deeper, but just that short floor phasing had been enough to dissuade Sofia from using the graveyard too much. Inhabitants of the spiritual plane, unsurprisingly, were a lot easier to notice than regular people's souls in the spirit plane. That's a lot of ghosts. They're basically everywhere. Hey! What are you doing here? This is a priva. The skull of the skeleton flew to Sofia's hand, the rest of his bones falling undeadless to the floor. SHHH. Not too loud, Sofia whispered to the skull, running her clawed fingers along the skull's sutures. I just want some information. You unhand me right now. I will call security, the skull complained in a panic, getting silenced by one of Sofia's fingers piercing through the top of his cranium. Oh, poor thing, Sofia whispered deep into the skeleton's ear hole. I think you don't understand, she said, as space warped around her and the skull, sending them to the painted halls that only Sofia, bones and skeletons could enter. Not even a final death can save you from this necromancer, she said with a wicked smile. Now be a good boy and answer my question, or this is how you will spend the rest of your undeath, she told him, grabbing an animal skull from a pile of bones nearby, holding it in front of the casino employee's skull, and compressing it into a perfect square with a thought. The skull's jaw opened and closed a few times. He needed some time to process the sudden situation he had fallen into, it seemed, and without even trying to resist, he just surrendered. Listen, I'll tell you everything I can. But if I say too much, my family is going to pay the price. Your family? Sofia asked. I have a wife and 2 daughters, the skull exclaimed. I need to pay off my debt to the casino. In just 30 years I'll be a free man again. If I can get out of this. Are you daughters skeletons too? Of course not. Ah. Sylvie, Lonnie. I'm sorry, Daddy might never get to see you again. You really don't have to die, you know, just answer a few questions and nobody else even needs to know anything ever happened here. Or are you saying the casino will know you said things you shouldn't even when you're here, in my domain? I can't tell you how, but they probably will. Yes, the skull said. Really now? You've got me interested. Let's see, Sofia said, turning the skull around to observe the magic etched on the inside. Oh whoa, you weren't lying. I don't understand it all, but there sure is some nasty stuff there, that's some serious enchanting. Pretty sure there's even a self-destruct function in there. The casino is known to be able to remotely dispose of employees foolish enough to attempt to escape, the skull explained. All right. I get it, well, answer whatever you can and promise not to call security when I send you back to your desk and it'll be like nothing ever happened. You can do that. That would be great, the skull answered, sounding uneasy and unconvinced. I'll just add my own things in there, since there's some free space. That way I can also kill you from afar if you alert the casino's security. What's one more death threat, after all, Sofia said, scratching a few lines on the inside of the skull with her dragon scale claws and sending a bit of mana inside. She actually just doodled some gibberish lines and runes inside of the skull, not even a proper enchantment, but it seemed unlikely that it would know or even notice the difference. There, now for the questions. After getting enough answers, Sofia took the skeleton back to his desk, leaving him with the one rat skeleton from Bookie's pages to make sure he wouldn't go back on his words and alert security. That done, she used the graveyard nymphs to quickly ascend back to the main hall. Nobody saw me? All right. Let's see, Crowy is in that direction. Ah, she's playing a card game? Let's just let her do her thing, about time I started to earn some tokens too. According to what that guy said, the first thing I should try is that one. Sofia crossed a good 200 meters through the hall to join a space with people standing in front of a giant wheel divided in many sections, each with different prizes, most of them being you lose. A skeleton spun the wheel, under the watchful eyes of the spectators and the player standing directly in front of the wheel. The wheel spun for a long while until it started to slow down. Looks like a small win for this guy, Sofia predicted, as the wheel was about to stop with the big arrow on the side pointing to the wager plus 20% section. But unexpectedly, the wheel continued spinning extremely slowly until it just crossed into the next one. You lose. Oh whoa. Just like that skeleton said, everything is totally rigged. And it's not even discreet, come on, it's obvious the wheel was going to stop on the small win and you wouldn't even let them have that? The player started throwing a tantrum and was escorted out by a zombie guard. Since the wheel was sadly not made out of bones, unlike many things in the casino, Sofia had no easy way to cheat. Despite that, she wanted to start there, as she knew from the skeleton she had kidnapped what the hidden prize in the tiniest section of the wheel was. It would greatly speed this up if she could get it. She watched a few more rounds from different angles to try to understand how exactly things were rigged. It was plain to see that some mana escaped the skeleton and entered the wheel every time it accelerated or slowed down in strange ways, but the exact how took a bit to figure out. The damn wheel having a mana shield sure didn't make this easy, but I understand your trick now. The mana coming to and from the skeleton operating the wheel came from his right foot. He never lifted it much, no matter what, only sliding it around when he needed to adjust his position, which led Sofia to a simple conclusion. The damn cheater must have a remote control enchantment engraved under his talon. From there, Sofia's plan took some more time. She moved around to the open space behind the wheel where a few people were just standing sipping on drinks, and stood with the wheel's skeleton at the very edge of her close aura's range. When his hand shot to the side to grab the wheel and spin it for the next player, Sofia gave the skeleton's wrist a slight nudge. His hand missed the wheel, and he stumbled, lifting his foot. It only lasted an instant, but Sofia's left eye was capable of capturing images for her to view later. This weird feature is certainly coming in handy, she thought as the wheel's control enchantment was now displayed in full view for her to copy. She quickly transferred that to a bone token, played around with it very discreetly for a few rounds to get used to the controls, and finally stood in line to be one of the players.